to say the right things, to do the right things, right? So we know the story. David kills Goliath, takes his head, holds it up in his hand, man, blood, stuff everywhere. I'm telling you, I would have loved to have been there to hold that head with him. Look at this, David, all this blood, gushy. Oh, man, that's good. Ugh. Dripping all over your shoes, your clothes, but it's victory. See, it's victory. There's no denying when they saw Goliath's head on David's hand. There was no denying who the champion was. They may have had a little, misconception in their heart. I don't know about that little boy, man. David, I don't know, Goliath looking like he's going to swipe him in two, man. He's going to be gone. But after he's holding his head up, they're going like, man, there's no mistake. That little boy knew what he was talking about, Rick. I bet you Saul's heart just dropped. Because Saul probably wanted him to get killed. See, because you guys don't really realize when you read the word how wicked Saul really became. Saul was so bent in his mind after he disobeyed God. He was so bent that Samuel was even afraid of him. And the Bible says that Samuel's words wouldn't hit the ground. But Samuel was afraid of Saul. Y'all ain't read that, have you? Remember when he wanted to go anoint David? He told the Lord, he says, well, I'm going to have to do something this way because if Saul hear about it. Let's go to 1 Corinthians with me. Paul uses some analogies in the Bible because of the day that he was living in. He got to see some of the very first things that happened that you and I now partake of as in the sports arenas, the Olympics. You guys realize that? The Olympics started way back then. All right? Wasn't as glamorous as it is now, but they started way back then, like sneezing did. And so when Paul is writing to the church of Corinth, he's talking to them on the basis of what they are accustomed to seeing, because they would hold. It was a town right near Corinth. It started with a STAD something, and it went on. And it was a town that they would hold these sports events in. And so Paul knew that they had been accustomed to seeing what these athletes did. So he uses that analogy in throwing the word at them so that they can know and kind of grasp this thing, like I was sharing with you guys about David and Goliath, because from your youth you've heard something about it. So he's throwing this at them because through their growing up, they've seen how these athletes, perform and do all these things. So these pictures, these things, these analogies help you break down the real spiritual meaning of how it is to do certain things. Okay, y'all with me? All right, okay. So let me get over here real quick. 1 Corinthians chapter 9. You guys there? Yeah, goody. This is going to be your homework. No, this ain't going to be your homework. I got something else going to be your homework. See, Pastor Milton, he gave it to me to give you homework. So, me, I'm going to go like, okay, tell me how many seals were broken and what was the sound of it when Jesus pulled that book open. But you guys don't have to go do that. Woo. Oh, me. All right, here we go. Verse 19. For though I am free from all men, I have made myself a servant to all, that I might win the more. All right? You guys with me? And to the Jews I became a Jew, that I might win the Jews. To those who are under the law, as under the law, that I may win those who are under the law. To those who are without law, as without law, not being without law toward God, but under law toward Christ, that I may win those who are without law. To the weak I became weak, that I might win the weak. I have become all things to all men, that I might by all means save some. You like that? See, this is what we're talking about. He's modeling the model. He's modeling Jesus. That's what Jesus did with every person that he met. He became whatever he had to become so that he could win that person. See, this is what church is all about. Church ain't about you coming and getting your little goody little basket and you running on doing what you want. Church is about, guess what? You modeling the model of Jesus, because I can ask you this. If you're really modeling the model of Jesus, let me ask you this question. based on the time that you've been in church, how many people have you brought to join church? Oh, it got quiet in here. Am I in the pool hall? No, let's get very serious. If I'm modeling the Lord and I'm serving the King and I'm serving my brothers and my sisters, I'm just asking you the question. As long as you've been here in church, how many people have you brought to church? How many people have joined? Don't answer, because you make me get on your case. So just be quiet. See, what I'm saying is, when you're modeling as a father, you produce sons. When you're modeling as a husband, you produce love. There are things that follow us modeling things. See, and I'm saying if you're modeling yourself as a Christian, okay, how many new converts have you won, or how many new people have you brought into the church with you, or to be where you are in your family? Tell me something. See, we're getting down to this nitty-gritty thing, and if you're really a champion, guess what? People like to be around champions. But when the fight is over, they may acknowledge the loser. But all the newscasters are on the winner. They may go, one person may go back to the loser's locker room. How do you feel tonight? But outside the winner's locker room, everybody's there. You can't get in there. All the lights are flashing. Everything's going on. Why? Because people like to be around a winner, a champion. Now, if you're not championing life, then you're losing life. Theodore Roosevelt had it like this, one of our presidents. He said, if you are not becoming the person that you want to be, you're becoming the person that you don't want to be. There's no two ways about it. You're either actively pursuing the person that you want to be, or life is causing you to actively pursue the person that you don't want to be. And I believe that most people are pursuing the person that they don't want to be. That's me, personally. Because I've seen it, and I've seen it, and I see it. And I see it all the time. People become who they really don't want to be. When you don't forgive, you become a person who you really didn't want to be. When you get so to the point that you're so prideful, you become a person that you really thought you never got up this morning and said, I'm going to become the most prideful person in all the world. They're going to give me a trophy for it. No, you don't. It slips in life. See? Because you don't guard yourself. You don't keep yourself. Here we go. This is the point we're getting to. He says, now this I do for the gospel's sake, that I may be partaker of it with you. Do you not know that those who run in a race all run, but one receives the prize? Now here we go with these Olympic things. Okay? He says, run in such a way that you may obtain. Everyone who competes for the prize is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a perishable crown, but we do it to obtain an imperishable crown. Therefore I run, thus not with uncertainty. See, he's saying something. I'm running, and then he uses this word fight. So he's seen runners and he's seen boxers. And he says, thus I fight not as one who beats the air, but I discipline my body and bring it into subjection, lest when I preach to others, I myself should be disqualified. In other words, he's saying, no one gets in a race to lose. Are you guys doing? You don't become a Christian to become a loser. You didn't get in this Christian race to be a loser. Nobody enters into this kingdom to be a loser. You were in the losing kingdom. You came into this kingdom to be a winner. And Paul is saying, because you've got in the race to win, run like you're going to win. Why run like you don't care if you win or not? That's craziness. Nobody gets in a race to lose. Just think about it. All the races you've ever seen, nobody gets in a race. I mean, Palmer, you drag race, right? When the guy pulls up beside you, guess what? He didn't pull up beside you to lose. Now, you going like you're going to lose, but guess what? He didn't get in the race to lose. You didn't get in the race to lose. Everybody gets into a race to win. And he's saying now because you've gotten in the race, run to win. Stop playing games. You know, when you come to church, you know, I don't know how many of you guys go over there to eat, because I didn't get up here this evening in time to eat, but I see Albert comes in there to eat. All right? When Albert comes to eat, he comes to eat. He brings his own Parmesan cheese. Do you not, Albert? That's right. I'm just saying, he shows up to eat because the deal for the night is to eat. He doesn't show up and say, oh, well, you know, just give me a few noodles. Well, you know, I don't know if I'm hungry or not, whatever. No, he comes in to eat. And he does it well. When he leaves there, you know he has eaten. And what Paul is saying is that if you're going to run. Why are you in the race if you're not going to win? See, whenever you have any kind of meeting here at church, this is the attitude that a champion should have. I come in here for the meeting to be excited. I come in here for the meeting to be fired up. You know, I was in a meeting one night, and the guys were coming in, you know, and a young man walked in, and he beat up against some chairs or whatever, and he came up and he flopped down in the seat. And I said, what's going on? Well, I'm tired. Well, what you come in here like that for? He got very offended about it. But you're the one that brought it in. Everybody else is sitting here. See, when I come to the meeting because I'm looking for something victorious so that we can accomplish something. And then you got people that come in to me, they don't care how they come. When you come to any of the community events, you should come looking for victory. We have those community events, guess what? So that we can impress people, so that people can go like, I want to be at that church. But if you come with the attitude that, I don't know what's happening today, then you're not a champion. Because a champion gets in the race to win. William, when you out there in where, L.A., did you go to lose? No, sir. That's right. You don't get in a race to lose. You get in a race to win. And Paul is telling us, listen, you are in this Christian race. Why don't you want to win? You don't want to win because you're lazy. Because people that don't want first place will always find an excuse not to be in first place. They will always find an excuse. Well, I didn't train long enough. Why didn't you? You knew you were going to be in the fight. Why didn't you train? It's always a bunch of excuses, which are really just a bunch of planned lies. I'm planning to lose, but I just want to make sure I got my story right. Y'all not. Paul is saying, get yourself, verse 25, get yourself involved in the race. That means give your determination, give your vigor, give your integrity, give everything about you to the race. You know, you want to build a dynamite church, but you talk about what everybody else is doing, and God's already given you everything to do, everything that everybody wants to do. You got more power in you than most of these preachers around you could suck up the rest of their life. And you won't even release it because guess what? You ain't in the race. You're sitting on the sidelines looking at what everybody else doing instead of you being in the game doing what everybody wants to do. You need to be in the game. We were in here the other night, game time. Power of God just came on. I was going like, wow, Lord, look at this. We're just talking about the gift of faith. We weren't in here for no manifestations of the Holy Spirit to heal nobody or do no miracles. We're just in here just talking about the gift of faith. And guess what? The presence of God just goes like, they're my kids. You got to get in the game. The reason most people can't win in life is because they won't get in the game. And you got the greatest coach, Jesus. Let's go to Hebrews real quick. How much time I got? I don't have my watch on nor my ring. What time is it? Tanya got so happy she done kicked the clock over. Tanya got her feet going over. She done kicked the clock over, man. James, come up here and get her, James. She don't know what to do with the timepiece. We're running this race. Hebrews chapter 12, real quick. I told you I wasn't going to be as long as Pastor Milton. Chapter 12, verse 1 and 2. Therefore, we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and sin which so easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down on the right hand of the throne of God. Again, Paul is throwing back to these people, and I believe this is Paul writing. Some people say they didn't have the author of Hebrews, but me, from the writings, it's the same writings that you find over in Corinthians. And so the writer is saying this. He's saying, listen, when you come into the stadium, again, here's the picture. He's showing them how the Olympians do things, how they did things back in the time. And he's using the sports to get to them, to talk to them. Just like you guys, you use the Redskins to hold a conversation. Isn't that right, Pastor Tracy? How many guys hold conversation with you about the Redskins? They'll break in the conversation in a moment. All you got to do is have a hat on, something on, they got Redskins. I had a guy today point to me, showed me his Redskin hat, and I said, what does that mean, you losing? And he said, no, who are you talking about? And I said, well, don't talk to me, because pointing to a hat don't tell me nothing. I'm going by previous track record. That just happened a couple hours ago. I'm going don't be showing me no hat, because But Paul is using the analogy of, how the Olympians are when they enter into the stadium? He's talking about this great cloud of witnesses. They're all around the stadium. And many theologians say that Paul is actually talking about the people that have gone on before us and how they're watching us and they're cheering us on. They're wanting us to make it through. They're wanting us to get through this thing. They already know what we're up against, and they're cheering us on, and they're there for us. And guess what? And you talk about, well, I'm going to see Mama. Mama's probably sitting in the stands looking at you going, look, you better get through that. I'm going to come down and get you or something. But whatever we're talking about the stadium effect here. And he's saying that when the athletes come into the stadium, they come in, all right? And they come in and they look all cute. They got their, their robes on. They got their flags. They're carrying their, who they're for. I'm for the U.S. and I'm for Bulgaria. I'm for Romania. I'm for Russia. They got their little flags and they got their little stuff going on, and they're suited all up. But when they get down to the nitty-gritty, when they get down to running the race, you got to take that robe off, Ric Flair. Woo! Ric Flair used to come out with robes on, sparkling, flowers on them, feathers on them. Oh, boy, he come down, they played his old big old song. He prancing his robe all around and whatever. But when he had to get in that ring, he'd get up there and he'd strut around, take his feet and do this, get on, and then take his robe off and show his muscles, and then guess what? He fold it up and give it to somebody. Because he knew that if he had wore that robe while he was in that ring, somebody would have taken advantage of his robe and wrapped his head up and hung him over the outside of that ring post. It was time to take off that pretty garment, put on your war clothes, go to battle. I saw Ric Flair walk out one time and Blackjack Mulligan. Y'all going back, aren't y'all? Blackjack Mulligan was in the ring fighting somebody. Ric Flair walks out with Blackjack Mulligan's big old 25-gallon hat, prancing all around the ring. Blackjack Mulligan got all disturbed because Rick had his hat, and Rick out there, getting him all disturbed with the guy that he's in the ring fighting. This is what Paul is saying. He's saying when you're in there, you can't lose focus. When you're running the race, you got to know what you're doing. You got to have patience. You got to have some wisdom. You got to know what your goal is. You come to church, your goal ain't to make everybody your buddy. You come to church, your goal is to grow up in the family of Almighty God. Find out your purpose in God and what God can use you to do. Then guess what? You will be more of a help to more people than just your buddy. Come to church looking for business partners, a wife, a girlfriend, whatever. No, you should come to church because God has a plan for your life. And because you're a baby, you don't know the plans. You don't even know there is a plan when you're a baby. All you know is give me my bottle. And I saw when Ric Flair got ready to wrestle, Black Jack Mulligan came out there and put Ric Flair's robe on. And Ric Flair was so disturbed. His $5,000 robe. And Black Jack Mulligan walked all around, and Black Jack Mulligan's a whole lot bigger than Ric Flair. He had that thing on, it was snug, tight, and he was walking around, and then all of a sudden he started ripping that thing. And Ric Flair, in a fight, went to pieces. He started jumping and shouting and whatever. He went to pieces, and he lost his whole composure. Why? Because what he had took his focus from where he was going. You got to watch how you don't come to church because God gave me a job, but now I'm tired. You got to watch that. God gave me a house, but it's Bible study night. Well, I'm moving my furniture. What happened to tomorrow? We are like tomorrow don't come. Y'all with me? I'm telling you things. People get a new car. They can't come to church. They're going on vacation. What happened to who gave it to you? Well, I thanked him. Yeah, but that still does not tell you to forsake the assembling of yourselves together just because God gave you a blessing. What happens to the honor of a champion that when he ends the fight, he doesn't recognize his manager? Well, what happened to that? We throw all of that away. Guess why? Because we get so involved in little old things of life that we don't get involved in the right things of life. A champion always recognizes God. It's the first thing David said when he walked on the field. I'm going to give you a head because the Lord, I want everybody to see that there's a God in Israel. Don't you want people to see that there's a God in your house? Don't you want people to see that there's a God in Fredericksburg? You know? Rather than you just struggling all the time and doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that and getting by and all that stuff. Don't you want to be at peace and happy? In fact, don't you want to fulfill your fulfilled place? But you can't do it if you ain't in the game. Paul says this. He says, listen, champions, they lose the stuff that caused them to slow down. He said this in there, and I wrote this down. Champions run with patience, which he tells us to run with patience. Champions learn how to run to win. This is what he was telling the people here. He says, you gotta know how to win. You gotta know how to run. You can't run on one scripture for all your life, one prayer for all your life. Come to church one time and you've been to church. You know, you can't forgive one time in life and say, I've forgiven. You can't walk around and say, you know, well, I gave the church $2 out of my $20,000 and the Lord he should appreciate me giving that to him. What kind of mind do you think you got? You know, you got to constantly keep your mind going like everything that I have belongs to God. So you should be willing to give everything to God, whatever he asks you to do. But most people don't want to get that close to God because they don't want to hear God talking. If I don't hear him talking, I'm not responsible. Yes, you are. You are. You're responsible because you're responsible for being close. He says, draw near to me, I'll draw near to you. That's a command. That's not a if you want to. Y'all with me? How much more time I got, Tanya? 2 minutes. Clock says 58. Am I in front of Pastor Milton? All right, I am? Okay. Champions know how to stay in their lane. We have so many people that enter into a lot of ministries. I mean, I've talked to people. I talk to pastors sometimes. Let me tell you something. I would not be surprised that most of the people in this congregation in here know more so than most pastors that I meet a lot of times about how to live right and how to do stuff. how not to be so prideful, how not to be lifted up, think you're something just because you got a title. What's going to happen when you get to heaven? I don't see where it says Pastor so-and-so. I don't see nothing where it says elder this, bishop that. All I see, he says that those who overcame will be my sons and I'll be their God. I don't see none of that there. So where are you going to carry that title to after you close your eyes? Are y'all with me? All right. I'm just talking to somebody in church tonight, right? And champions know how to keep their eyes on the goal. Stay in the lane. You're going north, don't try to go south. Keep your eyes on the goal. You're going, you know where you're going, you know what you're doing, you know what you're assigned to do. One of the ways you can tell how spiritual a person is just to ask them to do something. And if they can't follow instructions, they're not very spiritual. Pray. Well, first I want to greet everybody, let everybody know, Pastor, that I'm happy everybody's here, blah, blah. You were asked to pray. Who gave you, now you're taking the person who has the position to greet everybody. You just took their position because you have no discipline in you to do what you were asked to do. See? It's all kinds of little stuff that we see all the time going like, wait, where'd you get that from? Who told you that? And we meet people like that all, that's not you. I'm not saying this about you guys. We meet people like that all the time. I'm going like, where you get that from? I want to talk to the pastor. If I assign Tanya to you, you just talk to the pastor. Oh no, well, I want to talk to the pastor. No, I just gave her a word. That's like talking to the Lord and saying, I want to talk to God, Jesus. I don't want to talk to you. God's going, I gave you Jesus to talk to, or the Holy Spirit to talk to. You want to talk to them? You want to talk to them, but you want to talk to me. What makes you think you got that? See, we got to get away from deception. Because deception, again, will lead you off in all kinds of stuff, and you'll get all mixed up and all messed up, and then you'll be going like, see, I tried church. No such thing as trying church. You don't try to breathe. You tried to eat. You tried to walk. You tried to drive. You tried to love your husband. You tried to love your wife. Where will that get you? In the natural. Failure every time. So why is it that when a person says, I tried church, why are you surprised that they're not a failure? I'm never surprised when a person has no commitment, no integrity, no honor, no loyalty, when they have no pursuit in their life, when they have no desires in their heart that God gave them. I am never surprised that that person is a failure. Because it comes from the word. You automatically know you're going to be a failure. Champions don't fail. Champions, by definition, is the person who's gone through and has come out. The person who went down, then they got up, and they can tell you some things about being down. See, you have to bounce off the bottom to get. Most people don't know about bouncing. They ain't hit the bottom yet. See, when you hit the bottom, you bounce. That's your way to get back to the top. And people, I just feel like I'm low. You ain't got down there yet. You ain't really got to the bad spot yet. Wait till you bounce. You ought to be saying, Lord, help me bounce, please. Because once I bounce, I know I'm going to at least elevate myself at least a little bit. But I don't want to be down on the bottom crawling around. No. Let me hit rock bottom, bounce, hit up, go on up, whatever. But a champion gets back up, regardless of what goes on. They can go through hell and they get back up. David was running for, I believe, 13 years before he became or was put in position as king. 13 years knowing that he was king. But his patience wouldn't let him touch Saul. Even when others wanted to kill Saul, even when David himself had the opportunity to kill, he would not touch him. He is the Lord's anointed. I am here to serve him. I am not going to touch him. When he goes out, then guess what? God will elevate me because promotion comes from the Lord. But I'm not touching him. See, we got to have this championship mind. Get up when you get knocked down. Have patience. Fight. Don't give in. Just let the enemy know. Even though I'm not there today, tomorrow is a different day. Who knows what will be tomorrow evening? Who knows what will be in 2 weeks from now, whatever? Who knows? But I will succumb to my future failure if I succumb to my present suppressing. I'm not going to allow that to happen. I'm going to be a victorious person every day.